Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh review. Tonight I'm going to check out the Bandai Star Wars 1/12 scale Sandtrooper model kit. I know this is coming in a little bit late, but this came in right before Force Friday. I went kind of crazy running around to stores. Even though I didn't buy a lot, there was still a lot of stuff to look at. I like to shop around a little bit. And then right after that, our Kickstarter for the Articulated Icons line kicked off this week. It's doing pretty good. I appreciate everybody kicking in on that. Get some cool ninja figures. You can find the link to that in the description below. Also, before I get into the kit, I'm not going to get into the whole Disney putting a stop to Bandai being shipped outside of the Japanese market. It's just, I don't have enough information. I know it's happening. There's not much we can do, so I'm just going to have to find alternate means to get the model kits, because I'm going to get my model kit, either one way or another. I have Boba Fett coming in from Ami Ami, and then after that we're on our own, I guess. We will find alternate methods. And inside the package, I haven't even cracked this open yet. I'm expecting about the same kind of build as with the Stormtrooper. I'm expecting a lot of the parts to be the same. And there may be a few little differences. You have the shoulder pauldron. I think some of the sculpt's a little bit different on a couple of the pieces. But there shouldn't be any big snags. And I can understand the reuse. I mean, if this does use a lot of the Stormtrooper, I'm good with that. This, every company does that. And just looking at it, I know it's been a while since I built the Stormtrooper, but most of these parts look the same. Now, we have the pauldrons here, the pauldron colors. You leave it black for the black one, add the orange. I'm probably going to go with the white, because my Hasbro Black Series, I have an orange and I have a black pauldron, so switch it up a little bit. Then the instructions. This doesn't seem to be the most exciting kit, having already done it once. I don't really like to build the same thing twice. We'll see what happens. And as always, I'll go through the build and it'll probably just be highlights or snags, but we'll see how that goes as I go. Okay, slight bit of confusion. The headpiece, well, the top of the helmet is called out of the C sprue. It was right here. But there's another top of the helmet right here. So I'm not sure if this is leftover from the Stormtrooper and then why they added another one into the new sprue with all the actual Sandtrooper parts. So that's kind of odd. Not quite sure what's going on there. And like I said, it's been a while since I put the Stormtrooper together, so I don't know if this is exactly the same as its helmet. I'll get to a comparison after I get this all together. I saw a bunch of complaints that the headband here was a little low, and it looks like you can adjust a little bit. It's kind of on a hinge. It's on two pins on the outside, so you can raise it up a little bit, make it a little bit more movie accurate. Okay. The little straps going over the top of the shoulder here. The picture is a little bit unclear. There is a taper on one side, and I'm sure I have this right. This is 25, 26. I don't cut them out until I'm ready to put them on. So there's a flat end, and then there's a side with a slight angle to it. And the picture is a little bit unclear. The angle goes to the back. Another big giveaway is the front peg is shorter than the back peg, and here the front peg hole is shorter than the back peg hole. I mean, once you look at it, it's pretty much common sense, but going by the picture, it's a little bit wonky. I've also noticed that I do believe B is the original Stormtrooper sprue, and then C comes with new parts, because the abs came out of here. For some reason, the top of the helmet came out of there, and then it looks like some belt pieces and, different pieces of the armor. I went ahead and stuck the stickers on the head. That way I wouldn't have to deal with the body all flopping around trying to put the little stickers on. And most of the stickers on this kit goes on the helmet. Now, I said I was going to use the white sticker. First of all, I tried the water slides. I'm going to have to practice that. But I figured for the Stormtrooper, I'd already done one in stickers. This one was pretty easy. It looks good. I'm not complaining about it at all. I tried the white sticker on here, and again ran into curved surface. Stickers do not want to lay down flat. It didn't want to fit. It stretched. It didn't want to match up completely. It hung off the side, and then that split down the middle, it doesn't really help. Maybe somebody with a lot more experience than me can put it on, but I'm going to leave it black for now, and then later I may paint it white. But from there, it goes here, and then this goes here, and I'll be good with black for now. That's looking cool. Speeding right along, if you've done the Stormtrooper, you should have no problem with this one. I do notice on this one, though, that the legs snap together with an audible snap. I mean, and it stays together. If I remember right, it seems like I had a gap on the other one. Again, I'll compare here in a minute, but it snaps together and it stays pretty good. Now, when I did the first one, I did have the old, just utility snips. Now I have the actual modeling snips. So that may be a little bit of difference. There may be a slight change in the plastic or how they did it, whatever. But I just feel like the Sandtrooper's going together better than the Stormtrooper did. Getting the belt on the figure, I remember the Stormtrooper, I had a little problem getting the belt on it and getting it to stay. I had, I want to say there was a couple of different pieces you could use. I'd put the one with the holster on and it would just fall off. But this one seems pretty secure. The pieces that hold these pouches on that go up are kind of rubbery, so they conformed nicely. And, when you squeezed it together, it didn't hinder any. But I didn't even realize this came with these pouches on the belt. I thought it was going to be another holster. So, what do I know? Zipped right through the Trooper. He's cool. I'm good with that. I get to the instructions on the back for the backpack, and there's 3 different options to place canisters, boxes, pouches, whatever. This is the base of it, and it looks like everything else builds on top of that. So it's not as different as I thought it would be. Looking at the pictures, it's all pretty much the same. They're just, kind of mixed up a little bit. So I'll probably go with just option A, call it good. This kind of looks like a stereo speaker. Sandtrooper rocking out. But yeah, not bad. Some of these little pieces are kind of thin here. And this holding this piece on bottom here. The pictures on the front of the box and the pictures on the front of the instructions show this set of pouches hanging over this strap shoulder, just like the usual Sandtrooper. But in the instructions, it shows these pouches being on the hip. Now, it also comes with this extra set of pouches. They're kind of shorter with a smaller pouch sticking off of it. And this goes on the hip too. It has this set of slots, but if you try to put it on there, right there, this extra pouch gets in the way of the backpack and you can't crunch or you can't straighten them out because it's just blocking right there. If you try to take this pouch off, it still has a peg sticking out. So it gets in the way of the backpack. In the actual instructions, it shows this set of pouches being here and this set of pouches up on the strap. Which, when it's already on there, it's kind of hard to get to. And that does look a little bit better. It's smaller. It's not taking up his whole shoulder. And also, he has more movement because the backpack doesn't hit this extra pouch there. So I like this arrangement. Plus, this is different from the Black Series figure. So, I don't know. Maybe there's something in the instructions telling you that they're interchangeable. But I can't read it. The other thing I don't like is, build-wise, is this hard strap. It's a little soft, but there's not a lot of give to it. And when you put it on the gun, it blocks where it goes into the arm. You can kind of get it in there, but I don't know, it feels like it's jutting out a little bit, which I think it would anyway. So maybe I'm just being picky there. I was going to take the strap off, but I may just leave that on there. And there we go, all built. And I'm not quite as excited about this model kit compared to, like any of the others I've built. And I don't know, I can't put my finger on it. I think what it comes down to is the limitations of the plastic. And when I say limitations, I mean there's no flexibility to a lot of it. And with the pauldron hanging over the shoulder, the strap coming over with the pouches, the backpack, there's a lot of hindrance to the poses you can do. His right arm, you can't really bring it up without his helmet getting all cockeyed. You can't come out this way because you can't shift the shoulder pad or the shoulder bell here out of the way from under the pauldron. The pauldron is just a hard piece of plastic. Over here you get more movement, but then the pouch strap starts getting all up in the way. And the big thing here is with the pauldron, with this, you lose a lot of helmet movement. You still have it, but then this starts getting all screwballed over here. You can't really turn this way. Up and down is kind of hindered by the pauldron. Don't get me wrong, this thing looks great. It looks fantastic. Even shiny, Sandtroopers are supposed to be dirty. All the details are separate pieces, so they stick out. Now, as you can see, I have shifted this band up a little bit, just barely off the eyes. It leaves a slight line right here where it's supposed to be down, where it actually snaps down. But I've raised it up a little bit. It's a little bit more movie accurate to have a space there. And the differences between the first Stormtrooper model kit, I want to say this one is solid. There's not any shift here. And it stays up off the eyes. It looks pretty good for the main Stormtrooper. The Sandtrooper, you bring it down to where it snaps into the groove, and it almost falls down over the eyes. It gaps a little bit off the top of the helmet, making his eyes look really, really small. So you can just pop it up a little bit, and there's a certain spot I like. Just a little bit, not too much, where he looks, surprised. Down just a little bit. I see. And it's hard to hit that sweet spot. I'm even good with that. Just a little bit, just to let the eyes define out and, be the proper size. Now, I'm griping about all this, the straps and the backpack. But you can take the backpack off. That's not a biggie. The strap comes off with it. And you get a little bit more movement. You can see the shoulder, but the pauldron still gets in the way. You can see how when you lift the arm, it shifts the helmet out of position and makes it even harder to move. What's it look like without the helmet, or without the pauldron? Without the pauldron, you just end up with another Stormtrooper, and I'm almost just good with that. With extra straps on the back, this pouch. You don't have a holster here. I may leave them like that, except you have this open gap in the back. Of course, then again, you could always take this off. This kind of popped in, so I'm not sure if it's easy to change. Yeah, just leave that off. That's not a huge deal. Then you can have the backpack, no shoulder strap, and you have full range of movement on the Stormtrooper. In fact, the head I don't think the head really sits up higher than the regular Stormtrooper. I think what it is, these straps right here, holding the chest armor on the regular Stormtrooper, it has that detail work, the grooves, and they sit up just slightly higher than these flat ones. So without that, the head looks a little bit higher. I almost like it a little bit better. It's not too terrible. But I'm going to take all his gear off and go through his articulation without the gear. You've already seen how the gear hinders it. Let's go through here. Now you have the forward and back on the neck. It's you can get some movement at the bottom of the neck and also at the top of the neck. So you can get all kinds of poses. He shifts side to side, forward and back, up, down. The shoulders have a butterfly joint on them, so they swing out. So you can get arms in front of them. Now it looks a little funky when you get crazy with it, but that's about as high as you can get up, 90, but you can fake it. It comes out. And then all the way around, it's a ball joint stuck in a cup. The shoulder bells do shift off for more movement, but they're kind of stiff. There's a swivel at the top of the bicep. He has double elbows, and you can get up to about right here, but there's also a shift in the forearm. You pull it out, and he can get more range up to about right there. That's cool. The wrist is a swivel. You get kind of up and down movement, and then it swivels around. The mid-torso, you have forward and back. You have a little side to side, and there's also a twist there. There's also a twist at the bottom, and you can get a little bit of movement there too, forward and back. The hips, you can go out, great. But what happens here, and this is the same as, you know, all the other kits, you can shift the leg down and get more movement all the way around, forward, back. And then when you're in neutral position, it just shifts right back up in there. So a lot of range of movement. I really dig that. I love it. I wish all figures had that. There's double knees. And because of the armor, it kind of gets stuck right there. There's no shifting armor piece here. So, but he can get it in a running pose. Ankles are hinged. And you can also swivel. And then there's rocker joint. There's a peg facing forward for rocker. Now, something I've noticed about this, and it's when I first put it on, if you try to rotate in for wide stance, there's a place that it locks. It gets stuck right here. So when you try to rotate back in, it's kind of a snap. Now, he comes with the two open hands, and the pegs aren't mushroomed. They just slide up in to a rubber socket top piece. So they're snug when you put them in. And then he comes with the usual, just like the first Stormtrooper, the right fist and the pointing left hand. And they just go right in there. No problem whatsoever. Look great. And the cool thing about it, the extra hands you have from the Stormtrooper, you can also use on here, unless you dirty up the Sandtrooper. I'm not going to do that for this review. I don't know what I'm going to do with him yet. I may just use him as a regular Stormtrooper. He comes with a trigger finger for the right hand. I usually just leave these on the gun. That way I can just switch it out, have the rifle, have the pistol. I don't like prying the fingers off to change out weapons. So that's how I usually leave them. He comes with a trigger finger for the left too, another rifle, and the Stormtrooper, I already had the pistol for it, or the blaster in it, so you can change these all out. He comes with this long rifle, same as the Stormtrooper. He comes with the blaster, again, same as the Stormtrooper. He comes with this smaller pistol, I like. But new for the Sandtrooper is this heavy rifle. And like I said earlier, this strap I don't like too much. If I'm going to use it a lot, I may take that strap back off. He also comes with this base, the usual molded foot, but it comes in desert scheme this time. I like that. The base rope works really well. You can just snap the foot in there. And it's not even a snap, it's just like a snug fit. And you can have him in running poses. It just works really, really good. Now, comparing him to the first model kit Stormtrooper, like I said during the build, it feels like the armor pieces, even though they're the same, the Sandtrooper snap together a lot better. There's no noticeable gap And I don't think it's an actual difference in the mold. I think it's just, maybe chalk it up to experience in snipping them out, or, having better tools now. But the abdomen, you can also see that there's a slight gap in the Stormtrooper. Not so much gap on the Sandtrooper. The helmets are slightly different. Mostly this band running across the top of the eyes. I've talked about that. I talked about the straps holding the chest armor on are different between the two. The abdomen pieces are different. The Stormtrooper comes with these black dots. This is a separate piece that snaps into the back and makes it black on the front. Sandtrooper doesn't have that. In fact, there's no black whatsoever there, and it's a slightly different sculpt. I thought the belts were different, but they both have these circles on the front. So the front pieces are the same. The differences come in the back. Different back piece here. It doesn't have the detonator or whatever this is. These might be the same, but they just work better on him because of these pieces being more rubbery now. And the holster is a hard plastic. And then the last big difference are the knee pads. This one's more of just a diamond shape. This one has a kind of a decoration under it, not full. Other than that, though, they're pretty much the same figure. You can interchange the pieces between the two. If I didn't know any better, though, I still want to say the Sandtrooper has a longer neck. Now, comparing them to the Black Series Sandtrooper, the glaring differences between the two straight-up Stormtroopers, between Black Series and Model Kit, I vastly prefer the Model Kit. With the Black Series Sandtrooper, the gap between the two is much more narrow. Essentially, they're mostly the same, but there's something about it, maybe with the pauldron, the pouch, the backpack, it closes up all the gaps that I had a problem with on the Black Series Stormtrooper. Sandtrooper, I like a little bit better, except for his grippy hand. You can't use a rifle. You can't hold it like the open hand of the Model Kit. But on the Black Series 2, all these pieces are rubbery. So you try to move the helmet around and you get more range of motion, and at least in turning the head, because you can just shove this down. I'm not so worried about breaking something on the Black Series figure. But the Model Kit is a lot crisper. Each piece is separate. It's just more detailed. Plus, on the Black Series figure, you have this strap running under the arm for the pauldron. I believe it's supposed to be that way. You don't have that on the Model Kit. It's just hanging loose, and you get some shift. It doesn't lock down anywhere. And the Black Series, the pauldron is just, I'm going to say it, is just sculpted better. It has these wrinkles where the strap is pulling it down. The Model Kit just feels a lot stiffer. Just looks flatter, plainer. I don't like it as much. Now the backpacks between the two, of course the Model Kit's going to come out, more detailed. Each piece is a separate piece. So, it's not just one massive plastic. But the Black Series did a pretty good job of, almost making it look like separate pieces. It's not terrible. I just prefer the Model Kit. Plus, if I want to, I can go back, change all the directions of these, and add different stuff. It's not a huge deal. So, at the end of the day, I love the Bandai model kits. And everybody knows that. I've actually been accused of, being biased towards the model kits. So I'm going to break that right now and say, this is okay. The Stormtrooper, I love the model kit, but with all the extra stuff on it, and it being not as flexible, not a rubbery plastic, it doesn't get out of the way, I don't like it as much because it hinders the helmet, it hinders the arms. So I may just pull all that stuff off and just have this as a plain Stormtrooper to go along with my other one, since I never ordered other ones. Not yet, anyway. It doesn't do it for me completely. So, yeah, it's cool, but it's going to be a Stormtrooper. As nice and clean and shiny as it is, too, it just works as a Death Star Stormtrooper on my shelf. I'll stick with the Hasbro Black Series Sandtroopers for my dirty, gritty, equipment all over them Sandtroopers. So, I know this wasn't the glowing review that some expected, but Every now and then I don't like something. And, you know, it's few and far between, but there you go. So if you like the review, comment, like, subscribe, and I will catch you on the Fwoosh. I'm leaning more and more towards this being my display trooper, and then this will be on the speeder bike most of the time. And that's cool. I don't mind two of them. It's two display options. And like I said during the build, I do like that it's a clear, transparent piece, just smoked out black, where it looks like a lens in there.